I just want to make a quick point, and not that anybody's wrong in anything they're doing. It's just there's little details left out. Now, let's say, I see things, because being alive and having the option to see what needs to be uh, informed, see what needs to be worked on. All these options are out there now. YouTube and all these things, they are things that you can look at and say, what inconsistencies do we have that we need to work on? And where can I contribute? Instead of looking at it and going, look at all the dumb stuff we do, it's funny. Or, that kind of thing. You could actually make it a goal of yours to help improve instead of just watch. Don't just be the observer. Be the inputter. But at the same time, do it with heart and love and with the sense of making things better for livingness. Because you are living. So when you hear people say stuff like gurus that talk about, if you use any substance, then you are hurting your spiritual progress. Like, I only want to point out that everything is a substance. If you think that as a human being in a body, although you are a spiritual person that's being a human being, I know that, okay, in a body, I'm not trying to talk nonsense here. I'm just trying to get deep around all the subjects. That if you were to not ever do a substance, that would mean you would never intake anything. And you can't say, well, only anything that wasn't natural, because most of the things that they are saying are psychedelic or whatever like that. Like, nothing pro anything, nothing against anything, just pointing out that everything has its place. So if you wanted to sit and do breathing routines, which I suggest you do that no matter what you include along with it, but if you just wanted to do that and you wanted to fast all the time and follow a strict spiritual outlined lifestyle of processes that you do, you would have to be a certain age before you were old enough to be informed and shown how to practice that. So everyone has had a bringing up to a place, and then at that place you choose to take a path, okay? When your path opens up and you see infinite paths, then you try to come back through one body, one person, one individual, and tell people or help people from that one spot that they're going to see. And at times maybe they'll feel the vastness or feel the oneness of all things, but they're still going to look at you as your location of source or wherever these sounds and feelings are coming from. So those gurus who say stuff like these about substances, I'm not, like I said, I'm not against them or for them, but they have to realize that if you say don't take mushrooms or don't smoke weed or don't take acid or don't do something that is even, I would say even chemicals, but we do a lot of stuff where we change them and modify them, and that's where I say don't use the hard stuff that is human made, because the stuff that grows, is going to give you a reaction, just like some people have allergic reactions to peanuts and bee stings. And I mean, it's different, but it's not. It's just that we were told that you don't do this one, and that one's okay. You can drink alcohol, although it's worse for you than things that we tell you not to have. It's like this idea of letting people's regulations be told to you that you say that that's what's real. Their regulations are real to me. Instead of saying, because a guru says you shouldn't do this, it's got to be right. No, it was taught, and it was felt, and it was then self-reassured to that one individual in this one path, in this one lifetime, that no matter how many different things you do in this one lifetime, like you could be a crazy person for 20 years and then have a spiritual awakening, or you could be a wild person your whole life and then change at the end, and people could say this big meaningful story about you, but that was still one path. The story includes the beginning and the end and all the details afterwards and all the details before that made you. So you realize that you are a part of the whole thing and the whole thing at the same time, of course. So I want to make a point that if a person wants to be straight and narrow and follow a path that was taught to them through a book or through a religion or through a spiritual practice, then great. But they're not completely right. They have to realize that all different aspects are allowed in a spiritual, non-physical sense. Everything's allowed. If it happens, it happened, and it could possibly happen. Therefore, it was allowed to happen. Above and beyond all regulations and what we say can and can't be done. Like, all thoughts are possible. All possibilities are out there. But it takes the mind to unlock them. Now, if we keep the mind dwelling on certain things, those things happen. If you think that drinking soda is okay, but taking mushrooms isn't. And we know that mushrooms are actually healthy now. But there's still people just trying to preach what they've heard or afraid of what they've been taught. And because they think that of it, their body, just like when it's cold outside, you suck up and go, like that. Just your body has certain thoughts that come along with certain things. If you think bees are scary, you tense up. If you don't, you put your hand out and let them crawl on your hand. And if they bite you, they bite you. If they sting you, they sting you. You're like, oh, okay, that hurt, but I won't do that so freely next time to you. But it was just one occasion, and you'll let it go. It's no big deal. Like, you don't hold one occasion throughout your life to be something that's going to affect you so much for the rest of your life because that one thing happened. Like people who have anxiety attacks because they had a violent or a sexual or an abusive, history of some sort with one person or a period of time, and then they go the rest of their life saying, like, I have anxiety because one time this happened. You have to realize that that's up to you to let go of that. As hard as it is to face that, yes, this happened to me, and you can't tell me it didn't. No one can tell you it didn't. But that holding on to it is what's happening to you now. And if you don't let go of that, it's your fault. And it's the only person who can make you let go of something is you. So even the belief systems you have. So when you come back to saying how I would recommend that people do what they feel they should, but go at it with a feeling of exploring their body, exploring spirituality, and exploring things like that, not going like, how messed up can I get? How stupid can we act? And how, just how many limits can I push? It's not about that. If it's destructive and knowingly destructive to others, you have to set somewhat limits on physical life because you're alive and there's another thing next to you that's equally alive. You can't say, I'm the only one here and there's clones of me, so they can't feel and I can. Because I know that I can see someone cry and I can touch them and push on my skin and push on their skin and see that it sort of dimples the same or indents the same. So there's feelings and sensations and nerves and studies and people out there that talk and talk and talk. So yes, it's real, but yes, it's not real. You've got to look at it from both sides. But we know that when you feel something, you feel something, and you can't debate that. So if another being can feel, it's not your right to just do away with them because you want to. It's not. It's not your right as an equal living thing. Once you start thinking that you're not equal and you're better, or that you know better, or that your policy is right, or what you were taught is right, then you're getting into the realms of harming others with your ignorance or your misinformation. Now, what I'm trying to talk about in words as a human being that has happened to me in a spiritual and in a oneness of all things sense, knowing what is, not knowing what I was told or taught, knowing what is because I experienced it. I'm trying to put this thing into words, and then it's like I'm up against, but it's not literally that, but those words help explain the feeling of when you see all these spiritual things that are great for people to learn from, but they've got to take it farther themselves. Like Moji is awesome. Ram Dass is awesome. All the greats are awesome. Like, I'm not going to name them off. There's many spiritual greats, Buddha, and on and on and on and on and on. Even all the different religions have some great teachers and great spirits and great, icons that they look up to. I have nothing wrong with people looking up to something. But if they don't start looking inward at someone, specifically themselves, then they're not going to help the world outside if they keep following an outside thing to protect or to stick up for. They've got to just accept inside themselves that we're all here living together to do this thing. I mean, as simple as that may sound, as elementary as it is, it's true. Like, we're all a bunch of children from age 0 to 120 that we are here to try to cooperate and to try to do what's right in the face of what evil is evolution, growing up, developing, deviling. It's all that simple stuff. And our concepts of demons and all that stuff have happened through our beliefs, through our creation. And when I say our, it's not just the human body, it's the human mind, it's the physical mind, it's the mental mind, and it's the worldly, astronomical, universal, godly mind that is doing it all at the same time on different levels, but from one point right now. It may be so boring that you may be sitting in a little square room doing nothing, maybe watching TV, maybe having a great time, maybe going for a jog out in the wilderness, wherever you may be doing. You may be on a spaceship out in space, but you're just that one little blip in time happening infinitely until this life's over, until the next, and you forget each time, just like you forget if you work at the same job for a month, you forget what 3 weeks ago was compared to yesterday because you did the same thing all day. That they all tie together. Your life ties together, and all those pieces come together at the end. But when they finally do that during your lifetime, and you keep moving forward from there, you can't not help other people try to feel that and see that, so that they're not stuck in a spoken to or taught to or lectured to or talked into lifestyle. Like, the whole world is operating on somebody's opinion. This is how it should be, and that's what we're doing. And we can't live that way and actually be, silly enough to go around saying freedom when we set rules on ourselves and then say freedom. The rules on ourselves have to be self-inflicted, and it would be a peaceful world if people learned how to actually care without harming others. I mean, it's not hard. We just have to use our common sense and give up the things that, even though we like them, they're harmful. Instead of saying, well, I don't care if it's harmful, you only live once. Because you don't only live once. There's only one life, period. That's the wild part when you get it. You're not the important ant in the hill. You're the whole hill, trying to show the whole hill its importance. So, that's all I'm going to say for now, guys. Peace.